What's going on, guys? Spasmatic here, back inside Destiny 2, and in this video I'm going to be covering the Counterattack perk on swords once more. In the previous video of mine covering the Counterattack perk, I stated some things that are true and some things that aren't true. Kinda. It really depends on what type of enemy you are attacking when it comes to the Counterattack perk, while it also depends on how much sword energy you have. In the previous video I stated that you do more damage with Counterattack when you don't have full sword energy, which is true in some cases. This is where it matters on what type of enemy you are attacking. A red bar health enemy that dies in a single swing, it'll do more damage, but in the grand scheme of things that doesn't matter because the red bar health enemy will die in a single hit regardless of Counterattack being procced or not. In this video I want to test the perk on a tankier enemy that won't die in a single hit and to see how this perk works on projectile swords. Straight up, this perk does more damage with full sword energy on projectile and non-projectile swords when attacking bosses or majors or just enemies that don't die in a single hit. This is because you are able to deal that extra damage that the heavy attacks do on these types of swords. This also depends on the type of sword you are using. It's safe to say that the Counterattack perk does a clean 50% damage increase on regular and heavy attacks. This remains a 50% increase on attacks with or without full sword energy on a tankier enemy. You just won't have that extra damage from the heavy attack since you need full sword energy in order to obtain that extra damage, like the DOT damage on a projectile sword. As you can see here, with a regular heavy attack I deal multiple ticks for 4800 damage, and with the Counterattack perk active I deal 7200 damage until the Counterattack perk runs out. It's hard to test due to the fact that the Counterattack perk only lasts like 2 to 3 seconds long, and I recommend using regular attacks once you have the Counterattack perk active instead of heavy attacks for projectile swords because it takes so long to cast. My friend tested this with a non-projectile sword, his negative space sword from the Prophecy dungeon, and the Counterattack buff clearly improved the damage of the heavy attack with full sword energy since we're attacking a tankier enemy. Heavy attacks hit multiple times, and since this enemy can be hit multiple times, we can see the true potential of the Counterattack damage with the swords we are using. Unlike projectile swords, I recommend using the heavy attack on a sword like the negative space, since heavy attacks are a lot quicker to use on non-projectile swords when compared to projectile swords. I just didn't want to confuse anyone in the other video saying that Counterattack does more damage with less sword energy, which is true and false at the same time. It really just depends on the enemy that you are attacking. Doing heavy attacks without full sword energy, you don't get that extra damage like you normally would when attacking with full sword energy, like the DOT damage on projectile swords. It instead hits at a large damage value to make up for the DOT damage not being there. In this clip, with a heavy attack from a projectile sword without full sword energy, I hit for 12,800 damage. Once Counterattack is active and I use my heavy attack without full sword energy, I hit for 19,200, which is again a clean 50% increase in damage. You just won't have that extra damage over time when you have full sword energy. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to touch up on this perk a little bit since the previous video I didn't test it on a boss or a major, and it's clear to say that it's best to use this perk against tankier enemies with full sword energy because it will do more damage. Because obviously you have that extra damage from the heavy attacks. And hopefully you guys found this video informative or helpful in some type of way. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later back inside Destiny 2. Peace.